It's the SFL Nights it's the SFL Nights with AJ Striker, with AJ Striker. It's the SFL Nights it's the SFL Nights with AJ Striker, with AJ Striker. Ashley Jackson about the action. SFL news, come and join with interaction. Whatever happens, happens. Yeah, you will leave with satisfaction. Yeah, tell your team and tell your captain. Come and tune in, new episodes weekly. You can tune in from your room in afternoons, and when the moon hits, it's unique. It's the SFL Nights it's the SFL Nights with AJ Striker, with AJ Striker. It's the SFL Nights.
What's up, SFL Nation, and welcome back to SFL Nights with AJ Striker. Thank you so much for joining me today or tonight or whenever you decided to hit that play button or turn on that radio dial. I really appreciate it, y'all. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Thank you so much for tuning in, even though it's the holiday season. Hopefully you had a great time with your family, your friends. Hopefully you ate very well. If you celebrated, if you don't, still I'm glad that you decided to click that play button. I have a fantastic show planned for you tonight. First off, we're going to go over some SFLm action. The rookies hit the field again, and they put on a show. Can't wait to bring that to you. With some rookie shout-outs, of course, for those that did not make the Player of the Week. You still did a great job. I still want to give you some kudos for the job that you did do. And then I have my SFL chat around the water cooler explaining some of the new things that are coming down the pipeline, from scheduling to different things that we have coming up. Then I have my fourth and goal interviews with owner of the Houston Hyenas and Hall of Fame wide receiver, Mr. Demond Simien, and Commissioner and Chief Cameron Irvine is joining me tonight, going over some off-season things he got going on. We're going to be discussing his wedding. We're going to be discussing how he felt about season 17 as a whole, things that he feels like we can improve on, all of that good stuff coming up right here. But first, SFLm action actually was on Saturday, and it will be on Saturday for this coming week as well, due to wedding plans and things kind of falling back into line schedule. It's going to be on Saturdays for the next, I believe, just this Saturday, if I remember correctly, but we'll go over that in a minute. But anyway, great games. There were some rookies that really outdid themselves on the field. I guess being off the field for a little bit, kind of gave them that extra little oomph they needed to do fantastic. And here are the results from those games. The Lexington Miners took on the San Jose Flight, and the Flight won 24-10. The Miners had 155 yards passing, 43 yards rushing for 198 yards total. Their time of possession was 20 minutes, 55 seconds with 3 turnovers. San Jose had 160 yards passing, 82 yards rushing for 242 yards total. Their time of possession was 23 minutes, 5 seconds with 2 mistakes. So Lexington scored 10 points in the second quarter, and San Jose scored 7 points in the first quarter, 10 points in the second quarter, and 7 points in the third quarter to end the game. And player of the game was halfback Josh Slapp with 28 attempts, 83 yards, 1 touchdown, 4 reception yards, and 1 reception touchdown. All right, Josh, out there getting busy. See what I mean? Next up, we had the Annapolis Navigators taking on the Tacoma Grizzlies, where Annapolis won in a big way, 48-14. Annapolis had 177 yards rushing, but 417 yards total, for 594 total yards. Time of possession was 23 minutes and 30 seconds with no mistakes. Tacoma had 204 yards passing, 87 yards rushing for 291 yards total. Time of possession was 20 minutes, 30 seconds with only 1 mistake. In this game, Annapolis had 21 points in the first quarter, 10 points in the second and third quarters, and they also scored 7 points in the fourth, where Tacoma only scored 7 points in both the first and second quarters. Player of the game was running back Randy Squarebush. 21 attempts, 417 yards, 4 touchdowns, 74 reception yards, and 1 reception touchdown. So 5 touchdowns, 417 yards, Randy. Showed out, man. Keep doing it. Next up, we had the Memphis River Runners taking on the Ottawa Cavalry, where the River Runners won 20-14. Memphis had 295 yards passing, 115 yards rushing for 410 yards total. Time of possession was 23 minutes and 32 seconds with 3 turnovers. Ottawa had 213 yards passing, 32 yards rushing for 245 yards total. Time of possession was 20 minutes, 21 seconds with 2 mistakes. In this Memphis game, Memphis scored 14 points in the first quarter, 6 points in the second quarter, while Ottawa scored all of their 14 points in the fourth quarter. Player of the game was G.P. Wells, halfback, at 14 attempts, 120 yards, 1 touchdown, and 80 reception yards. Another underrated player, if I may say so, but congratulations. Finally, we have the Madison Lynx taking on the Salt Lake City Rustlers, where Madison won 10-6. Madison had 200 yards passing, 33 yards rushing, 233 yards total. Their time of possession was 25 minutes, 19 seconds with 2 mistakes. Salt Lake had 163 yards passing, 28 yards rushing for 191 yards total. They held the ball for 17 minutes and 48 seconds with only 1 mistake. And for this game, Madison scored 3 points in the second quarter and 7 points in the third quarter, while Salt Lake scored 3 points in the first and 3 points in the fourth quarters only. Player of the game was quarterback Xander Moon. 25 completions out of 40 attempts, 200 yards, 1 touchdown, and a quarterback rating of 83.3. So congratulations to all of the winners. Back to the drawing board for all of the ones that have areas of opportunity to grow. And I wish y'all the best of luck next week. All right. Now, rookie shout outs. Love doing this. Again, are for players that did not receive player of the game, but still made an impact in their game, whether they won or lost. And I'm trying to make sure everybody gets a little bit of shine there. So for the Annapolis Navigators, on the offensive side of things, quarterback Gene Struthers with 27 completions out of 34 attempts, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a quarterback rating of 79.41. Wide receiver Nick Lockett, 8 receptions, 50 yards, 1 touchdown, 13 long. On defense, Yambe Adams, linebacker, with 6 tackles, 3 assists, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, and 1 pass deflection. Cornerback Stuart Zomella with 1 pass deflection and 1 interception. And linebacker Tazzy Blackwell with 5 tackles, 3 assists, 1 tackle for loss, and 1 pass deflection. For Tacoma, offense, running back Brad Jones, 26 carries, 87 yards, 1 touchdown, and 12 long. Wide receiver Shane Kaufman with 3 receptions, 81 yards, 1 reception touchdown. He also at 68 long and averaged 27 yards per reception. On defense, cornerback Mark Kaufman, 6 receptions and 1 pass deflection. Strong safety Frank Bernstein with 5 tackles, 3 assists, 1 tackle for loss, and 2 pass deflections. Strong safety Kali Blow with 6 tackles and 1 assist. For Lexington, on the offensive side of ball, we have wide receiver David Gears with 4 receptions, 48 yards, 1 touchdown, and 20 long. And on defense, Travis Arthur, free safety, with 6 tackles, 1 assist, 1 pass deflection, 1 interception for 11 yards, and 11 long. Actually, he had 2 pass deflections. and 1 interception for 11 yards. And then strong safety, Isabella Blackwell with 6 tackles, 2 assists, 2 pass deflections, and 1 interception as well. Then cornerback Ty Woodson had 6 tackles, 1 assist, 1 pass deflection. For San Jose, on the offensive side of the ball, we have wide receiver Logan Strange with 8 receptions for 111 yards and 28 long. And for defense, defensive tackle Buster Johnson with 3 tackles, 3 assists, 2 sacks, and 2 tackles for loss. Free safety, Sam Blotner with 5 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions, and 16 yards. And strong safety, Bryant James with 7 tackles, 2 assists, and 1 tackle for loss. Madison, offense, wide receiver Charlie Baker with 8 receptions for 106 yards and 23 long. On defense, linebacker Nathaniel Diggs with 7 tackles, 1 assist, and 1 pass deflection. Strong safety Adrian Blaine with 4 tackles, 1 assist, 1 tackle for loss. 1 interception for 24 yards, 24 long. And defensive end Robert Cherry, 3 tackles, 3 assists, 2 sacks, 2 tackles, and 1 pass deflection. For Salt Lake, offense, wide receiver Lottie Lou with 8 receptions, 60 yards, and 14 long. Defense, linebacker Bogey Barr with 6 tackles, 1 assist, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss. Linebacker Golden Dino with 8 receptions, 2 assists, 2 tackles for loss, and 1 pass deflection. And defensive end Sam Jagger with 1 sack. Memphis offense, wide receiver Israel Adams with 8 receptions, 126 yards, 1 touchdown, 58 long, 15 yards per reception. And on defense, cornerback Laquan Smith, 4 tackles, 1 assist, 1 pass deflection, and 1 interception. Linebacker Matt Anderson, 7 tackles, 4 assists, 2 pass deflections, 1 interception for 11 yards. And linebacker Saeed Gore, 8 tackles. And for Ottawa, offense, tight end Dusty Rourke with 4 receptions, 71 yards, 1 reception touchdown, 52 long, averaging 17 yards per reception. And then on the defensive side of the ball, linebacker Declan O'Rourke with 8 tackles, 1 assist, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass deflection, and 1 interception. Strong safety Josh Neal, with 5 tackles, 1 assist, and 1 interception. Then we have cornerback Amar Bryant, with 5 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1 pass deflection, 1 interception for 67 yards and a touchdown. So 9 times out of 10, I didn't get a chance to see that game in particular, but I bet you it was a pick 6. Congratulations on that first one, man. That is awesome. Congratulations to everybody again. You made that list. You did a good job. I want to make sure you get the kudos for the job that you did do. Week 6 action will be on the 27th. The Saturday, the 26th. And it's going to be, of course, fantastic games to watch. I don't have the actual times for the games as of yet. The graphic is not available to me right now. But I do know that the games will start. One game will be at 7 p.m., one will be at 7:20, and then they start again at 9:00 p.m. and 9:20. And these will be the teams that will be participating. The San Jose Flight will be taking on the Annapolis Navigators. The Lexington Miners will be taking on the Boise Mud Dogs. The Tacoma Grizzlies will be taking on the Madison Lynx, and the Salt Lake City Rustlers will be taking on the Memphis River Runners. So definitely looking forward to these matchups to see what we got. Will Boise win their first game against the Lexington Miners? Don't know, but you got to tune in to find out on SFL's YouTube channels. All right. And I'll leave that link in the description for you. All right. So Sliding on to SFL chat around the water cooler, I have some dates that I would like to announce for everyone that has not gotten a chance to visit our website, which is www.simulationfl.net. You can actually look up the information that I am speaking of, that I'm referring to right now, and that I'm referring to within my interviews, especially with Cam. All right. So, complete fall and winter 2021 off-season calendar, sorted by date and event. Now, I'm going to omit the SFLm dates because we're going to be going over that every week anyway. So we're going to keep you up to date with that. But we have an owners meeting call on Sunday where they will be discussing ballots. I believe that maybe for Hall of Fame. I'm not quite sure. Maybe some other off-season things that they have to take care of, but that will be happening on November 28th. The SFL honors voting will commence Tuesday through Thursday, November 30th through December the 2nd. And then we have SFLm honors programming, as well as the All-Star Game rosters reveal on Saturday, December the 4th. Re-signing period will be Monday, December the 6th. Re-signing recap show will be on Sunday, December the 12th. Free agency period, Monday, December the 13th, as well as the free agency show. Schedule release will be on Thursday, December the 16th. We also have the SFLm All-Star Game happening on Saturday, December the 18th. The SFLm semifinals will be on December the 22nd, and the SFLm championship will be on December the 29th. No turnaround time for you guys, huh? No time to rest. And then the rookie draft will be on Thursday through Saturday, December 30th through January 1st. Rosters will lock on Tuesday, January 4th, and playbooks are due by Saturday, January the 8th. So this season is going to swing around here very fast. These are all the things that are going to be coming up through the pipeline, of course. Join our Discord if you want more information. We got it for you, all right? Now, on to my 4th and goal interviews with Mr. Demond Simien and Mr. Cameron Irvine. Thank you for joining me. Stay tuned. What is up, SFL Nation? And welcome back to one of my 4th and goal interviews for the evening. Tonight's guest is Mr. Demond Simien, owner and wide receiver for the Houston Hyenas. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. What's up, H-Town? What it do?
How about them Braves, though?
Hey, I have to give much respect for the Braves as far as what they did mid-season. I know this is a football conversation, but what the Atlanta Braves did mid-season, basically restructuring their entire outfield with hitters, and guys who had high percentage, slugging percentage and on-base percentage and stuff like that. Man, what's the guy named Solar or whatever? The black guy, Solar number 12, I think that's his name.
I want to say, no, it's Acuna.
No, not him. But the Braves got that guy from I think from the Royals. Okay. The black guy, I'm thinking about the one who kept hitting all the damn home runs. He was getting on my nerves, but I must give credit what credit is due. That guy there can play some baseball. Kudos to him. Kudos to the Braves organization for what they did, man. That was just outstanding front office stuff that they did as far as restructuring that entire outfield to bring in guys who can hit and get on base. And man, what was it?
And we had a series of unfortunate events that happened too. Losing the best player, start the whole season off with, and then the start of the whole championship, you use your starting pitcher. As soon as I started, I was like, you know what? Here we go with this stuff. But then, it happened, so kudos to them for that.
Yeah, they put on a phenomenal show in Game 6 of the World Series. So, congratulations, Atlanta Braves! You are once again the MLB World Series champions.
It only took 11 years.
No, I know it was like 1995 last time they won.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Wow. Yeah, man. I just show you how hard it is to get to the big dance and pro sports, well, any sport, period.
Exactly.
Like just a few minutes ago before I came on this call, my wife, one of her old coworkers, his son is playing in his youth league Super Bowl. So I was like, man, I can't wait till DJ get older so we can go and play in some Super Bowls. And I used to coach youth football.
Really?
Yeah, I used to coach youth football for about 20 years ago. I think 2001 or 2000 was like my last year coaching. Kind of got out of it due to the relationship I was in. That individual at the time was, a real jealous person and thinking that all coaches want to sleep with the kids' moms. So that's a totally different story.
You don't need that. No.
That's not what we came to do. That's for this interview.
But yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to you about that one. I was like, what else could you be doing? You might be dealing with these kids. That's the last thing. Okay. Anyway. But man, speaking of sports and how, things can kind of take a turn and it just depends on what happens during your particular season. Let's talk about the Houston Hyenas for a minute.
Let's do that.
So y'all ended the season 5-7.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious to know, from your perspective, how did you feel about your season? And what are some improvements that you would like to see made in order to perhaps go up to that 7, to get 7 wins, 8 wins, 9 wins, things like that?
Yeah, how I feel about the season, to answer that question there first is, I'm going to say disappointing. Reason being because I really felt that we had a great group where that we could make a run into the playoffs. We started off the season hot, 3-0. One point in time we held the number 1 defense in the league, only giving up, I think it was like 13, 12 points or so at the time we were only giving up. And this is with 6 rookies on the defensive side of the ball. So that's
crazy. That's
extremely crazy. That's kudos to the defense. And then game 4, we came across, a surprising heavy hitter, which was the Queen City Corsairs. And, that's when our losing streak started, where we went on a 5-game losing streak. And that basically hurt us right there. I was doing everything I could to get the team back on track. But, it's just, I think that the other opponents, basically figured us out and was able, to take advantage of the defense of those rookies that was on that side of the ball. But like I stated, I felt that we had a really great group of guys on the defensive side, whether they was rookies or not. Our secondary was really the main core group of the defense. That's what the veterans were. Then and also in the linebacker slot, but the defensive line, we had a lot of rookies there. We had 2 rookies on the defensive line. We had 1 rookie at linebacker, and I want to say we had 1 rookie corner and 1 rookie with the slot corner. Take that back. We had 2 rookie corners. Both played in the slot. 1 played the nickel, and 1 would come in on third on the dime situation. Then we had a rookie free, a strong safety as well. So but I don't know. It is what it is. We ended the season at 5-7. Not what we wanted to be. Like I said, we had that 5-game losing streak. But if you go back and you look at the losses that we lost, the games that we lost, our largest deficit was only 13 points. Mm-hmm. And that says a lot. Is that we're in ball games. Now, I don't believe in moral victories or anything like that, but I feel that it shows that how young the team was, even with a rookie quarterback. We didn't get shut out. We didn't really get blown out at all. It's just some things and now also at the beginning of the season, I created the offensive playbook for one way. Mm-hmm. And then once we start playing against those teams, who are a lot stronger than us, like I said, Queen City, Florida, Mexico City, who else we lost to? We lost to Carolina or so. Can't remember another one we lost to, but Lone Star. Those teams that I basically start gearing the playbook to more of where we become more explosive instead of just the way I had the playbook in the first 3 games of the season. So anytime you mess with the playbook, it's always some tweaking and dealing. You remove one play, it can mess up the entire playbook. That's why running sims all throughout the week really matters, because if you're not running your sims, you're really not going to see what your offense is capable of doing, or even what it will do once you make those adjustments. So that's that. I'm sorry, what was your second part of that question?
Should I almost forgot. No, it was more so like, what improvements do you want to make in order for you to gather more wins than losses?
Right. Well, improvements basically strengthen that defensive line. That's where the improvements is most definitely going to have to come in. We did not get a lot of pressure on opposing quarterbacks, if you ask me. I've said it before in the middle of the season, well, after the season was over with, that I believe that our defensive line was our weakest link of the defense. And that's not throwing shade at the players or the defensive line at all. It's just that we had 2 rookies there and we had 1 veteran player. So we had 2 defensive ends. 1 was a rookie. And we only had 1 defensive tackle. We didn't have a chain link of 4 guys on that D end. So, you got 2 rookies, and then you got a generic or non-contract player there as well on the D line, right? So, and what I mean that the improvement comes in is that we've brought in a defensive tackle to basically help strengthen that defensive line. Also, I moved Alex Perez from linebacker to defensive end, because one of our defensive ends, when we asked him, will he be coming back? He said, well, let me think about it. He, decided to take too long. So I can't sit here and wait on you, because I have to do what's best for the team, just as well as you as a player has to do what's best for you and your player, so you're up in the air about if you're going to retire or if you're going to come back or if you're going to test free agency. Well, I gotta keep things moving, and once I allow the train to stop, I'm going to lose out on talent somewhere else, so that's basically, how, and the reason why I moved Alex Perez down to defensive end, which is a great middle linebacker, is because, one, when Alex first started with us, he started off at D. And so we moved him to linebacker. And he had a great career at linebacker. But I have 2 individuals that are coming in that are great at the linebacker spot. So I got a little troll coming here. What's up, Pop? Say hey, Ashley.
Hey, DJ. Great to see you.
On camera. Hey, Ashley.
Hi. Future running back. I see you. Yeah, man.
So we met, like I said, I moved Perez down to the end because I have 2. We lost Brody Goach as well. Why do you throw your pacifier, dude? So we lost Brody. I'm not sure if Brody's retiring or if he's going into free agency. I haven't heard much about it. He was unsure as far as what he was going to do. But AJ, why you keep throwing your pacifier? You're messing up my interview, son. Sorry about that. You can edit that part out.
Maybe I might not.
Yeah. So I was not able to. Well, I could have got another defensive end. Left Alex there at the linebackers. 2 linebackers that want to join the team that I feel is going to be a great addition to this team. It's going to be, it's probably, it's going to help us out tremendously in that area there. So that was one of the reasons why we moved Perez down to defensive end.
If I can, I was going to say, when you were saying that basically most of your defensive players were rookies, for you to finish 5-7, it was actually pretty good, considering that you could have been, 1-11. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could have been like that. So
yeah,
with the natural progression, especially if those rookies would have stayed and took the advice that you're given giving them for the team build and what you're trying to create, I think that they would have the progression would have naturally brought you guys up to another level. But since you do have those two individuals coming in, I'm thinking from free agency.
Yeah.
That's going to help you out. I can definitely see you guys being in the playoffs, because you're right. You did not lose by large margins. And if certain instances wouldn't have happened, you probably could have taken their game. So,
yeah.
And I think it's good for you as a coach to keep that. You got to keep that mindset up, because it's easy to look at the way you did this season and either give up or just be like, oh, well, just let me just scrap everything. But what you were doing was somewhat effective. It was just you need to fine tune that, refine that, and then you have it.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you there. It's basically like this, is that, how should I say this? I feel that when you have a high retention, like we've had the previous 2 seasons, when players leaving, you go back to the season 16 draft, we had to draft 8 picks, and then going into season 17, we had to draft 8 more picks. That's a total of 16 players, within a 2-season span. And not all those players are still on this team, So, that I feel that keeping the guys together, building a team and one core, really helps in reference to your team winning ball games. You look at the Baltimores, the Floridas, Arizona. You guys don't lose players. Like a lot of other teams
lost
do. Well, I'm okay. When I say lose players, I mean a lot at one time.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Yeah.
Because also Mexico City. Who's another one? Jacksonville, before they decided to restructure their team as in reference to what they're doing now. I feel that this is my motto here when it comes to progression. Each week I tell players, hey guys, get your progressions in. And I also want you to know this: when you progress your player, not only does your player becomes better, but the entire team becomes better as a whole. Yeah. Actually, when you got guys that are dedicated and loyal to your organization, and want to stay there and win ball games, it helps out a lot. Like Friday night, I was listening to Eddie's show. Was it Friday or Thursday night?
Thursday.
I'm listening to Eddie's show, and he's talking to what was the individual from Baltimore?
Saran.
So he's talking to Yates, and Yates said it there. He's like, dude, we all love Baltimore. He said at the end of the season, we all ask each other, hey, who's gonna leave? No one says I'm leaving. It's because they're progressing throughout the season. They're getting better as the season goes on, and is strengthening their team each and every season, because they're not picking up copper players, low bronze players, through the draft. Nothing wrong with that at all. If you have to make that decision to draft a player at that low value, trust me, I've done it multiple times, and I'm not saying that I don't want a player that has that value, because I've had to do it. It's just that when you keep your team together as a core value, of being loyal and dedicated and want to win, that's what happens. You go deep into the playoffs, as we saw Arizona do. You guys got knocked out in the quarterfinals last season. And then this season you make it all the way to the semifinals. Who knows? You guys may take another leap, and make it into that championship game next season. It's just crazy how there's a progression to the progression.
Right. Exactly. A great way to put it, though. It's true. And you can clearly see it even in, like you were saying, with us, season 14, only won 4 games. You know what I mean? And now all the way season 17, make it into the semis. So, and every year you get better. So, and that's for anybody that's listening. Any coach, especially if you're new, like people like you and Mighty, well, unfortunately, Mighty. Eddie, all of you that have been in the TJ, T-Pat, all of you that have been in the league for a while, you have this mentality as well. You know, it didn't work out this season, but I'm not going to stop. But for the newer coaches that may not have the season that they were hoping for, what is some advice that you would give them? And my last question also is, what is some advice that you would give to these rookies that are trying to show us why we should draft them? Like, what can they do to stand out?
The best thing I can give is the experience that I had with Dave Burr to a rookie. You know, it's draft day. Dave Burr reached out to me and he sent this heartfelt message, basically letting me know why he wants to play for Houston, why Houston should take him. This is a first year minor league player. Right. Nobody's looking at 1 year quarterbacks, you know. Right. Nobody's not looking at 1 year quarterbacks, but it was the message he sent me, and not only was it the message he sent me, it was the conversation we had via the phone call. You know, he made it known that he didn't want to go anywhere else but Houston. This dude lives in Carolina. What kind of connection do you have with Houston? He said, man, he says, I have family and friends that live in Houston. The convention is in Houston. I'm coming down to Houston. He was like, why not Houston? He said, that's where I feel that I'm supposed to be, you know, and so, you know, like I said, we just talked, and the conversation we had, it felt so genuine. It felt exciting. It felt that this is where he belonged, you know, and from the time when I called him and he answered the phone, it was explosive. It was, hey man, hey, I'm excited, man. What's going on, dude? You know, it was that, you know, if you want to be somewhere, is there a certain team that a rookie wants to go to, reach out to that organization. Do not be afraid. Just because we're owners or whatever, or we've been around here for a long time, don't feel that we walk around with our chest sticking out and our head held high, or act like our shit don't stink, because it does. You know, I'm just saying here, do not feel that we're gods when we're not. You know, reach out to owners, reach out to general managers, let them know, say, hey, I like what your organization is doing. I feel that I could be an asset to your organization. That word asset is what I use on interviews, and it always get me to another interview. It's because I say I want to be an asset to your company and not a liability. Why? Because an asset is adding to your organization and not pulling from it like a liability will. That's what you got to do when you're reaching out to these organizations. Let them know how much you want to be a part of this league. You're already here by being in the minors league. Mm-hmm. Do you want to go back to the minor league? No. Reaching out to owners, letting them know exactly how you feel about their team, and trust me, owners talk. Yep. Don't send the same message to every owner. Send something totally different to each individual. Ask that individual if they can have a conference call with you. Ask them to meet with you. You know, right. Owners are only going to reach out to players, but some owners are only going to reach out to players who they feel that they should draft or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Dave Burr was a 1 year player. I could have easily drafted Scar Patterson last season or Johnny Reno. I've talked to both of those guys, you know, but it was just
the connection that was made with
the connection that was there with Dave Burr, you know, and that's basically it, you know. So who knows? You may be a safety, you may be a 1 year safety. Your overall may be like a 60 something or so, or high 60 or whatever. And you never know. An organization may take a chance on you because they've had a connection with you via a chat or via a phone call. I'm telling you, I don't bring anybody on my team I don't have a phone conversation with. Mm-hmm. Reason being is because through text message, I can't read your tone of voice. You can text something that you probably mean you're genuine about it, but I can read it and be like, man, what the heck is this fool talking about?
You got attitude, right?
Yeah, you know, and I can be like, man, what's wrong with them? You know, but you probably on the other end, you just calm, smiling, laughing, and going on. It's just the way how each individual take things. Yeah. So when you speak with someone, I can hear your tone of voice, you can hear my tone of voice. We're able to have a mutual conversation and understanding and get a good feeling about one another.
And I think that's important for you to be able to communicate. Because I remember one time I thought when you were calling one of my games, I thought you were being a little bit hard on my team, and then you were like giving a praise to the other one. I was like, listen, Demond, the other Ashley would have just been mad, sitting back, probably held a grudge forever, instead of coming to you and just saying, hey, I thought this was you were a little bit biased. And then you told me what you were doing, and that you didn't feel that you were. But if you did, I apologize for that. And you did. You were better that second half. You know, and so
I think the team started playing better the second half. You know what, Ashley, it's funny you bring that up, and I would like to say this: like when we're commentating games, sometimes these games are one-sided. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes these games are one-sided, and one team is going to get all of the praises because that's just the way how the game is going. And then you basically you're building a story, you know. So you got to say something about the team that's not doing so well. Well, hey, I feel that this team got to do this. You know, I'm trying to put it out of you. You know, I feel that you got to do this or whatever. It's just making that building that story, making a connection with our audience or so. You know, and then there's people out there listening that we have no clue who's listening. You know, we don't know everyone who's watching us on Twitch, on For the Fans, or even on the TV network. You know, For the Fans on Next Level Sports. You know, who's watching at their home. You know, on their Roku TV. Or their smart TV or so, because that's the only time you can pick it up if you have a smart TV For the Fans.
Yeah, so, it's true.
You know, we don't know who's listening or who's watching or whatever. You know, so and the thing that I do not do is I do not root for a certain team when I'm broadcasting a game. You have to take that out of your system before the game starts, because if not, it's going to show. It's
going to alienate people too. And
that
was just one instance that I had with you, but you corrected the situation. I haven't seen that from you since. But since then, there are other games that I would watch, and it does seem that way. So it is good for you to kind of clear that up, that it is storylines. It is about building the storylines. However, when I think it also is like a self-check too, to when you do feel like, or you do kind of sense from the crowd, because some people actually, some commentators are able to read the chat as they're doing it. When you kind of sense from the crowd that maybe I'm a little bit too lenient towards the one, even though that the one team is 0 to 58, bro. Like, I ain't too much I can say. You know what I'm saying? But
and then absolutely, and then take the championship game for instance, when I was on the post game, I mean the pregame, the halftime show, and the post game show, I was watching the comments, and I think it was at halftime. The team from Alaska, their players were saying, "Hey, there's another team in this ball game as well," and the way the storyline was built is that Baltimore has been so explosive all season long, but that first half of that championship game, we didn't see no explosion from Baltimore, you know? And what happened was that they came out running the ball a lot more than what they normally do. And we were shocked. And that's why Baltimore was getting spoken about so much, because that storyline basically flipped. Now, we could have praised Florida for what their defense was doing, because they got an interception. No, it was a fumble on the opening kickoff of the game. They got a fumble there. Then they get in 3rd and long with 3rd and 18. They convert the first down, and on that same play, to score a touchdown on it. You know, the next possession from Baltimore fumbled the ball from their fullback T-Roy Gaines. So Florida has all the momentum right now, you know. So we could have praised Florida, and I think we did speak on the things they did. So like I said, when I saw that in the chat, I was like, okay, I gotta turn this around. I gotta speak about the things that Florida is doing. And I said that, and then you posted, you like, Demond comes through with the bailouts. But that's right. You know, sometimes as commentators, broadcasters, analysts or so, whatever, we do get away from speaking about both teams because of what one team has showed us throughout the season. And then like I say, Baltimore wasn't doing it. I was like, what is going on here? And I stated, I was like, maybe Florida is playing Florida's defense. They're playing two high safeties or so, and they're playing those hash marks, and they're not letting anything get behind them. But then in the second half, Baltimore flipped the script. They went on a 19-3 run.
Yeah.
So
you can hear about that. But before I let you go, I did ask you another question. It was kind of mingled in with the rookie question. Then, I want to kind of piggyback off what you were saying as far as not wanting to go back to the minors. Now, in some cases, and I've been trying to tell rookies this too, some people are not going to get picked up in the draft, point blank.
Right.
It is how you handle that dictate the next go round. If you're in the SFLm, I remember that this person reacted like this, and when they did get chose. And then what happens if they come on my team and we lose? Are you going to react in that same manner? Are you going to be that belligerent or that angry? Things like that. I want to let all the rookies know, and you said that no one wants to really go back to the SFLm, which is true. Most people want to graduate from the minors to get to the majors. But understand that if you're not able to do that, you have a special advantage in the ability to progress your player for 8 full weeks. When I started, we only had one game to showcase, and that was it. If you didn't get it, that was hey, if you didn't get your touchdown, that was it, bro. At least I got 8 weeks. And if you look at a player like Randy Squarebush, even like Johnny Reno, though they are predominantly the best players in the SFLm now because they went back, because they were able to make this progression. So if you don't get chose, it could be heartbreaking, but at the same time, you have a chance to become someone better, and you cannot be overlooked. Like Randy Squarebush will not be overlooked. I think he's going to Sioux Falls personally, because if Colin left, he's the only one that is comparable to be able to replace Colin at a rookie stats for a rookie with the stats that he has, with the build that he has. He's the only one that I can really see sliding over there, and Sioux Falls can still be more productive than they were. Not saying that Colin was the reason that they failed, but just to have someone, because Colin, they built their team around Colin. And so when he left, it's like, so what do we do now? If we're going to still keep the same team build and this same way that we play, then we have to have somebody that's comparable to be able to take his place. And Randy Squarebush is the only one that I can see with his build, the experience, him being in there, I think like 2 or 3 seasons. So he's going to be able to slide in that spot and will not skip a beat. But
now let me ask you this here: doesn't Tulsa need a running back as well? Did Sons of Robinson retire?
Ooh.
And Sons of Robinson was a power back also.
Yeah, if that's the case. See, I didn't realize that. So if that's the case, it depends on who drafts first. And I think Sioux Falls will draft first. So
no. Tulsa has number 1 pick. Tulsa has number 1 pick. Sioux Falls has number 2.
So that means either 1 or 2. Ooh, that's gonna be a nice battle.
I'm not sure if Sonzo retired, but I think I've saw or heard that somewhere. I have to go back and check, but we
can check on that. If that's the case, then he might be going to Tulsa. He's going to go either number 1 or number 2. Period. Straight up.
Yeah.
So, but coaching. What advice do you want to give to the newer coaches that are out there that have taken over teams that didn't necessarily like Charleston? They had a fantastic season. They missed the bar by a little bit. So what advice do you have to those new coaches and owners so they can further build upon?
You have to make it your life. You have to make it. It has to become a part of you. It's easy to say, hard to do, especially if you have a family. Take me for example. During the season, I don't go to bed till 2:30 at night. I work at 8 to 5 every day. Although I work from home, I have to clock in at 7 o'clock in the morning. Now I'm not going to bed to 2:30. It's because I'm up and I'm constantly watching Sims. The only sim that really matters is when Cam hits the start button on his console. But I have to continue to watch sims on my end because, like I stated earlier, when I'm adding plays in, I have to see if this is alternating my playbook. Prime example, I'm getting ready for Mexico City, the last game of the season. I added some plays to my playbook. I was like, I feel confident about these plays that I'm going to add. Now, this is like on a Tuesday, Wednesday or so. I add these plays to the playbook, and I noticed that we're not moving the ball downfield. Everything that I was expecting to happen was not happening. And so I had to remove those plays. And the only way I was able to identify that is by sitting here and watching multiple sims throughout the day and throughout the night. So when I say that is that you basically you have to make coaching become a part of you. You have to be serious about it. You can't take this lightly, and this is, basically the same thing. When I spoke with Eddie, and Eddie informed me that he's going to take over both offense and defense. I was like, man, it's hard doing both offense and defense. When you was here in Houston, you only just get the defense, but it's extremely hard when you're doing both. When you're doing one, I guess it's a little lenient. It's been a long time since I've only just did one side of the ball. I want to say going back, since season 13 when Eddie was here, I only just did the offense. Eddie did the defense, and so that was a lot easier for me. I was going to bed maybe about 11:30, 12 o'clock then, so but there's times my wife's like, hey bro, what you doing?
Okay.
What's more important? Oh, okay. I see what your morals are. I see what's more important to you. Then it's something I had to scale back on and say, okay, I can't allow this to take over. Me completely. But still be dedicated to it. Whatever. I guess that's the key word there. Be dedicated to it, but also be time manager. Manage your time a whole lot better than what I'm doing. There's no way that you should be standing up 2 o'clock, 2:30 in the morning. You see all these gray hairs in my beard? That's come from the SFL. I ain't got no words from my wife nor my kids. These gray hairs come from the SFL.
Yeah, I got some too, bro.
And I talked to Eddie the other day. He was like, man, I got these gray hairs growing on the side of my head, man. And he say, man, I say that's SFL grays, man. Because I have a few little gray hairs. I have a few little gray hairs on the side too.
It's and before I let you go, that's what bothers me with some people are so quick to judge teams or judge coaches. Because you guys do spend a whole lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of effort into putting these playbooks together, into watching sims. If you're set with scouts, with coaches, and all you can do is just sit back and really just be an owner and oversee everything, then hey, that's a cushy job. But if you're doing everything as an owner, as a coach, both offense and defense, and I got a scout in my gown games, which is what Eddie was doing until we got scouts. And he was traveling back all across the come on. And so when you have people that are that dedicated to doing what they're doing, I don't think it's right for people to kind of take a S on them if they have a few games that they lose, or if they go on a 5-game losing streak, or if they if they don't make it to that next level. Like, they're learning, they're trying to get this together. And unless you walk in their shoes, you really shouldn't have too much to say about it, except we'll get them next time. But all the extra lip talking about, they don't know what they're doing. Okay, you try it then. You stay up until 2:30 in the morning and then get up, be with your baby and your family. You don't have to go to work. You try that.
Exactly. And another thing, if you're a new coach or whatever, man, reach out. I don't care if you reach out to me, reach out to somebody. don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't feel that any question you ask is a dumb question. The only dumb question is an unasked question. Trust me. When I got involved, I reached out. When I first started, back in season 6, when I got my team, I reached out to someone who I knew for a long time, which was Destro. I say, hey, Destro, man, I don't know how to build a play. I mean, I knew how to, as a user player, you know, playing the game and I'm controlling the sticks, I knew how to build the type of playbook that I want to build. But for the AI to control, I was like, yo, what should I do? He's like, man, you know how to build a playbook? He's like, here, let me show you what you do. This is what you do. Yeah. And he showed me the ropes. He gave me a blueprint and I took it and I ran off with it, made it to the season 6 championship game, you know, as an expansion team. You know, and after that, we didn't make the playoffs in season 7, but seasons 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, that's 5 seasons in a row we made it to the playoffs, you know, and we was known as a competitive team. Didn't make the playoffs season 13. Season 12, we didn't make the playoffs. Season 13, we made the playoff, missed it 14, made it 15, missed it 16, 17. But I'm telling you, we getting back to the playoffs this season. Somebody get knocked out.
You tell them, Demond. As long as it ain't me, I'm good.
That's it. Exactly. but just saying, reach out to somebody.
Yeah.
Because what you want to do is you want to find yourself a type of game plan, you know what I'm saying, or a style of offense or a style of defense you want to run. You know, Mexico City, Florida, they run the same kind of offense, a West Coast style. You know?
Yeah.
Baltimore, they're straight pro style, throw the ball deep, you know, modern day offense is being ran by them. You know, Arizona, I told Eddie Gage, I said, man, I was scouting the Sioux Falls game. You guys played Sioux Falls the week before I had to play Sioux Falls. And I told Eddie, I said, Eddie, I'm watching this game and your offense looks beautiful. You know, and that's coming from me as an offensive guy. Eddie's a defensive guy. You know, I said, Eddie, your offense looks beautiful. Ashley's not throwing picks. You're moving the ball downfield. You know, you got great receivers. Your running game is getting involved as well. So, you know, he figured out, you know, how he wanted his offense to be ran. And I told him, I said, Eddie, I said, watching this is like is an artistry. He was like, I wouldn't go that far. Let me tell you something. Now I'm going to go into teacher mode. When someone gives you a compliment, never turn that compliment down. Always accept that compliment, no matter what. If someone say, hey, man, I love you. Man, I like your shoes. I don't care if your shoes are 5, 10 years old. Do not turn that compliment into a negative by saying, oh, these old things?
Yeah.
I did that once, and someone had to coach and coach me on it. And ever since then, I've always said thank you for every compliment that I've ever gotten. Because you know what? There's some people that don't get compliments at all on anything. So no matter what, you know what I'm saying? Just because you feel that it may not be an artistry, Eddie, it was an artistry to me. Right. to see your offense roll in the way that it has rolled the previous season or so, you know. So
and it's coming from that. And I want to thank you for that. You know, I really want to thank you for that because, you know, I've been told, not directly but indirectly, that my player build wasn't good enough and that I should be scrapped. You know, that I should scrap my player build. Oh yeah. And when I found out, when I found out that was said, my first inkling was, who would say that? Who was it? Who said it? The person that told me would not tell me who it was, but I am more so.
That's all like Gage told you because he don't name drop.
Even though I know now who it was. And I'm hoping that this person I know now that you said that. I'm going to be so happy when I get that ring to prove you wrong.
Ooh.
Because the thing is, for that to even be mentioned like that, you know, other people would have been like, oh, I don't know what to do. Maybe I should do it. No, not Ashley. What I'm going to do is just prove you wrong. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Yeah. So, you know, either way, I am the type of person that I would rather show you than tell you. As if, you know, you joined that wrestling league, Oh, I got a nice promo that you're gonna hear very soon. I don't mind challenging you. If you think you're the best, all right, cool. We're gonna find out.
I'm still trying to figure out this wrestling league. I'm like up in the air if I should like really join or not. It sounds like there's some things going on in there. I'm really not sure what's going on.
Well, I'll break that down to you later on. But brother, it was a pleasure having you and giving some of your insight. And of course, you can always come back whenever you want to, man. You got some announcements you want to make or anything like that? You know, I got you, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it. You know, it's always a pleasure. You know, to get a chance to chat with you. You know, about the SFL and about personal things, and so just sharing information with one another and just you just like you're the light of the SFL, Ashley. You know, you're so bubbly, you're so positive, and always. I don't have anything. I've never had anything negative to say about you. Which I don't think I talk negative about anybody.
I don't think so. I've never heard it.
Yeah. No.
I appreciate it. Man.
Not me. No. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this next season though.
Yeah.
You know, I feel that we're gonna turn things around. We're only losing 2 players. So we're bringing back 95% of the team, and that was a selling pitch. That was something that we talked about and we expressed to the players all season long. You know, hey guys, we need you guys to come back next season. You know, so this team can continue to grow and continue to build our strength amongst one another. Stand on each other's shoulders and become the foundation of this team to get this team rolling.
Absolutely. And you will. You will.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so
I'm gonna give you a last word. I can't let you go without it. So that could be a song, that could be a poem, or that could be a simple shout out. Right now, the floor is yours. Demond.
Song I don't sing.
Dang it.
I'm actually, you know what? I love to sing, but I can't sing. And my wife and my daughter reminds me of that every time I start singing. So I'm just gonna leave it like this here. Nipsey Hussle. All my life. Grinding all my life. Sacrifice. Trying to pay the price.
Okay, you can rap though, okay? Next minute, I should say rap then. How about
a little bit.
Drop a few bars, man. It's all right.
But no, man. Rookies out there. Houston only needs 1 draft pick. We've been in talk with a few picks or so. But rookies, if you need any advice, don't feel bad, or don't feel that you can't reach out to me. My Discord name is DRSIM80. Hit me up. Any questions you have, and that's awesome, is because some rookies have reached out to me. Some guys have reached out to me. Hey man, I'm new to the league. You know, what should I do? This, that, and I'll drop a few nuggets for them or so. You know, don't be afraid to ask anybody questions in this league, because you're new here. You don't know where everything is, and going back to Ashley's wrestling league that she's part of, I joined and ain't nobody told me where to go or what to do, so I'm like, okay, should I be here or should I not, so I don't know how to get my creative wrestler involved. They just asking, do I have the game? No, I don't have the game yet. Can somebody create me a wrestler? That's all I'm asking,
I'll get with TJ on that. I'll get with TJ on that.
But if you need any type of coaching nuggets or so, I mean, even if you're already a coach, I've reached out to other coaches, and I've been here for a long time. I reached out to other coaches, had conversations with them or so, just to pull the nuggets here and there from or whatever. Now, ain't nobody gonna give you their playbook or an entire blueprint or whatever. We'll give you some stuff that we can share. Reason being is because the league is so competitive now. Yep. Back then, season 5, season 4, 6, or whatever, 7, 8, we didn't have that many teams. The league wasn't as competitive. We had multiple teams that was winning championships back then or something. But now it's so competitive. Everybody's trying to get to that championship throne. And, it's like a crab in a bucket syndrome. As soon as somebody gets up, we're putting you down, and just be mindful that, you're not going to receive the entire blueprint, but you will receive some nuggets. But there's always according to how you accept those nuggets and what you do with them when you receive them, So reach out to me if you have any questions. Like I say, this doesn't matter. If you're a new coordinator, old coordinator, whatever, I'll be glad to help in any way that I can.
Fantastic, man. And same goes here, guys. We're all here for you. All you gotta do is reach out and ask. That's it.
Reach out and touch.
I know you had it in you. I knew it. Hey, but Demond, I'll see you next time, brother. Don't be a stranger. I'm all here, man.
We will most definitely link up again, Ashley. Let's say here between now and before the draft. So I think the draft is like December. What? Oh, it's like December 30th.
30th. Okay.
It's the 30th through the January 1st. So anywhere between that time, let's link up. Whatever.
Looking forward to it. We can go and we can talk about who you think is going to be the top prospects and everything.
That we can do. I want to send a shout out to Israel Adams. I watched your show, your interview with him, and I was so impressed by this young man.
Yeah.
23 years old, married, has a kid on the way. I reached out to this guy, sent him a message and say, hey man, I saw your interview with Ashley. I love the interview. I gave him some encouraging words. He said that he was in college and he's trying to finish up that degree. I told him, hey man, stick with it. Don't give up on getting your degree. I said, I didn't finish on getting my degree until I was 38 and got my master's at 41. You're 23, you're still young. Don't feel that time has passed you by because you still have a long life ahead of you to live. I told him, anytime you need something, reach out to me, let me know. And I love the way how he encourages his teammates.
Yeah.
He took control of the locker room, became a leader in that locker room or so. He had a pretty good game last night also. He had some pretty big catches in that game. Unfortunately, they didn't come away with the win. The Ottawa ended up coming back and winning that game, if I'm not mistaken, versus Memphis. But yeah, man, Israel Adams, congratulations to you, man, on the new addition to your family. I told him, I said, it's going to change your life. You're going to look at life totally different once that baby comes.
Mm-hmm.
One other thing, as a man, I know you probably already like this here, but when that baby comes, also still show your wife attention as well. She is going to need it. Okay, she is going to need that attention from you. She's going to need that help from you and so forth. She's counting on you. And I'm pretty sure you're going to do a phenomenal job. And I'm pretty sure you are, because you're already a blessing to the SFL. You're a blessing to this world as well. And that's all that I have.
Awesome, man. That was good. That was good sound advice. And I'm sure that brother will take it too. That's a good brother. Whoever's going to get Israel Adams in their locker room is going to be very, very lucky.
I told him, I said, Houston don't need a wide receiver, but if we did,
you're going right here.
Yeah, I told Eddie, I said, man, I'm just may retire DRC and just to grab his brother.
Hey, that come back if you want to do that. Please come back and let us know about that. But all right, brother. Thank you so much for your kind words, and I'll see you soon.
All right, take care. Peace.
All right, you too.
H-Town, what it do?
Listen, when you get a minute, can you send me a picture of yourself for my my poster?
Yeah.
Cool.
Absolutely.
That's all I need. I need you to do that whole H-Town thing again because I cut you off before you did that. Hold on. I'm gonna record the part. Hold on. So it makes sense because you did just get cut off. Hold on. Pause recording. Oh, I'm still recording. All right, go ahead.
All right, H-Town, what it do?
All right, everybody, and welcome back to part 2 of my 4th and Goal interview with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Commissioner Cameron Irvine. How are you doing, Cam?
I'm great, Ashley. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Always glad to have you. You know, we had to make this our, annual end of season kind of thing where, give us your thoughts on the end of the season, any upcoming things you got going on. So, but first, congratulations on being a newlywed.
Thank you so much, Ashley. It was great to finally get married, and did it on our 9-year anniversary. So it was just really special to see a bunch of old family friends we hadn't seen in a really long time, and celebrate it with your closest people and all the support and love that we got and received and all that other stuff. So it was really it was a really fun time. It's hard to kind of get rolling again, as everyone remembers, or many remember and experience. And but it's, we're in a good place. It was a wonderful time. We'll do the honeymoon next off season, and for now, as we get back to it.
Good deal. And I wish you all, as I said before on my previous show, I think it was last week, I wish both of you the best. I wish she was here next to you right now so I could tell her face to face, but just give her my love.
Yeah, we haven't even had the discussion yet about what her media availability may look like as my wife. So we've got to hash that out.
Exactly.
I don't know what she wants to do about that.
Because she's Mrs. Commissioner now. She has to be available for photo ops and everything.
Have to be.
I just hope she ain't a Green Bay fan.
No, she's Pittsburgh, actually.
Oh.
I'm all right with that.
I love her.
It's good in my book.
I love her. I question your choices sometimes, but I love her. Okay. So Cam, give us your thoughts on season 17 as a whole, from the automation to the competitiveness of all the teams this year. What are your thoughts?
If you haven't, if viewers have not seen it already, I've got the season recap up in 1,000 words. I kind of put some thoughts down in there of just about what caught everybody's attention. But it was a good season. Obviously, I think I was talking to Demond after the championship game. And Demond has done, I think that was his 5th or 6th championship in the booth with us. And I said, Demond, you remember those season 6 playoffs? And he goes, oh yeah, I remember those season 6 playoffs. Of course, they went to the championship, but season 6 is often known as the best postseason of games that we've had. If you've never seen the season 6 playoffs, definitely go into YouTube, and if you can stand the quality, watch those games and see how they were. But we had overtimes and comebacks and game winners at the buzzer and all sorts of crazy stuff. And this postseason was really great. I think it was probably better than that season 6. Every game was so competitive. The Baltimore comeback in the semis, the Arizona triumphs, and then just that close. I mean, look at Charleston and Florida, right? Or I'm sorry, Charleston and Arizona, just that close to beating Florida, and then Florida just that close to beating Baltimore. That I don't think anybody had it harder than the Storm in terms of close games down the stretch. They were really sweating all 12 quarters of their postseason. But I thought that was a big win for the league. Just these playoffs was really good. The season for me is always great with little turmoil. We just really didn't have any kind of major issues or problems, and that's always a blessing. As you mentioned, automation was 99% smooth, and we couldn't ask for anything more. We were continuing to work on building on it, just like we are any other part of the league. So I think it was a really smooth season. We will go into season 18, our third consecutive year with the same 24 teams run by the same majority owners. That's very important. We are a very stable league. Leagues don't often make it to season 18 like ours. There's, as I always tell people, don't take for granted that you're not worried about us not kicking off in January. Well, we'll be here in January. You know, you can believe that. So that's always nice. I've reached a point in my life personally, actually, where stability, quiet is very good. The calmness of more, you know, a small town, and the calmness of a smooth, well-oiled machine, right? And so I've had a lot of that, and we are blessed to be in a position for that. And I'm just, hey, let's do it. Are we there yet? You know, let's get going, and you know, let's run it back, do it all over again. Because for me, the game day, of course, Mike St. Green is a huge part of that. But the game day and the game breaks and running all the games and doing all the production up, that's the sweet spot. That's what's most fun for me. That's when I'm having a blast. Everything else is just regular work pain.
Absolutely.
but those games, those, especially in the playoffs, I say to Mike Daggs and some others on the broadcast team, my reward is a close game. You put all those playbooks in, put all those substitutions in, you manage everything all week long, and the reward is a good game. Because if it's a bad game, then I'm just kind of like, well, that was a bunch just for a lopsided result you knew in half an hour.
I totally get that. I definitely get that. Now, one of the things that I really enjoy is that we are expanding our rosters. Tell me, how did you come to that decision? Was that made by the owners, or it was the collective between you and the owners? And how do you see that being beneficial to the future of the SFL by expanding the rosters?
Yeah, that decision was made by the league to the admin, you know, myself and others. I need you to go now. I'm a good lip reader. I am a good lip reader, Ashley. Isn't that what you said?
That is exactly what I said.
Yes. What if there was a game for that? I think I'd be pretty good at that.
You would be, because I definitely just told my son, because he's over here trying to talk, and me and you just started, and now he want to come in and just ask me all kind of questions. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I hear you. No, it's quite all right. But no, that decision was made by me and league admin. You know, and essentially what we've got going on in the minor leagues, first off, there's many different ways to approach the problem, right? And we talked about everything and anything under the sun, and in ways to figure out what to do with all our people, which is always a great problem to have. But at the end of the day, you know, the number one, Stephen Hacker put out a survey, 148 people participated. The number one thing is locker room experience, right? People love a great locker room experience. What better than to have more people in your locker room? Have more people that are like-minded, that love the Scorpions, in your case, Ashley, or any other team, just like you. Get to meet new people, get to bond with more teammates, that sort of thing. So that's a big part of it. You know, we also want our teams to be successful, and you know, the more fans and players you have, the more merchandise gets purchased, the more jerseys people buy, the more t-shirts people get, all that kind of stuff. And that stuff helps support teams more so than it does the league. The league doesn't make any profits or do anything monetarily with apparel from teams, right? So that's a good way for you know, for teams to kind of cover some of their costs. And so you know, so that's important to teams too. But the other thing, Ashley, is of course when you look at the rosters and you see goodness gracious, we've got 120 players down there. Where are they all going to go? 2 seasons ago, as you remember, we raised the price on subscriptions, right? And as anticipated with any kind of price hike in any business, you lose customers because they say it's just not worth that much to me, right? And so we had already done that. That wasn't something that we wanted to do again, because we certainly could have kept our 20 players per roster and then just said, all right, we've got so much demand that we've got to clear some people out to give more people an opportunity. We like to mix it up, right? It's not, as I've said before, in this league, we are a business, but it's not all about money. And we saw a more valuable way to get people introduced onto teams. So ultimately, we said, look, we've expanded rosters from 10 to 11 to 12 to 15 to 17 to 20 before. We've done this plenty of times before. It's time to do it again. There are teams that could benefit from having more players because they just didn't feel like that position was worth it to their cap, right? Because they only had 20. So that left some players out, because they're just not in high demand. We also see players in demand due to injury, particularly a running back. You want a backup running back to help on drives that go long and the running back gets tired, to help if the running back gets hurt, in certain in-game situations, because running backs can act so differently, from one running back to the next. Having a different one in a certain situation could be very beneficial to that team. So we see it from that perspective. And then we also see it from just, hey, I've got generics on the field still that play a lot. We don't want that. If you've got a second tight end or a third linebacker or a D lineman or, a slot corner, and they some generics making a play, and we're on TV and we're like, oh, that guy made a play, but that's not a person. It's not a real person. It's kind of a missed opportunity, right?
I definitely.
So, yeah. So those situations lead themselves to, hey, we can grow these rosters, and it can be a big benefit to players and teams. And people talk all the time about expansion, and I can't wait for the next round of expansion. It's going to be so exciting. There's nothing more exciting than seeing a new team hit the field and seeing what they can put out there. But we have to be smart. Now that we have automation, which is why we invested money into automation, is when a new player joins, it doesn't matter. We get them in the system, right? And it doesn't add to it doesn't matter from a workload standpoint, because you're not
manually
spending you're not manually inputting these players anymore. You're not manually checking their progressions. You're not manually checking their subscriptions. You're not doing these things by hand. And with every person that comes in, you have to do all that by hand unless you invest in yourself in automation. So now when the league adds players, it doesn't stretch us thinner, but we still have the problem of being stretched thin when we do add teams. Every game you add adds 2 broadcasters, 2 statisticians, 2 playbooks, 2 changes, 2 substitutions that have to be checked, 2 graphics packages, 2 over and over and over, right? And it just goes on and on and on. 2 pages on the website, 2 roster pages on the website, so it becomes this massive thing. And so our strategy as a league is we have to get to a point where we can accommodate so many players that we have the ability to kind of expand and grow our league office to accommodate more teams. And we will get there. And I think we can get there sometime in the next year or 2. It's not like, we won't have another expansion in 5 years. Like, it's not like that. But we've got to make sure that everybody is getting a chance to play, and the league doesn't get too big for its britches and falls apart. So we've been doing this for 9 years. You know, we've just been walking to the finish line. So,
and that's good.
Yeah.
You never want to bite off more than you can chew, because then you run the risk of making your clientele upset with you, because they're paying this money and they want to participate.
Yeah.
You know,
and you implode, right? You implode. You have issues with operations. You get mistakes in the gameplay. You get machines that are old and out of date. You get all this stuff that happens, and it's like we can't handle all of these problems, all of these issues. There's just too much stuff to do. It's just impossible, and we don't want to reach that point for our players, because our players expect that when it's 3:00 on Sunday and we say they're going to play, they're going to play. And
absolutely.
And people, I think, probably think that's a little bit easier than it is, but 3:00 on a Sunday, doesn't matter what's going on. Tornado warning, dog wants to go out, whatever. Hey, I don't know. Somebody else is going to have to handle it, because I got to be here right now to start this game. So I've had it all. Actually, there was this one game, I think it was a couple seasons ago, but there was this one game where we got right on the air, and I was like, I gotta go, but I can't go. It was like a Joe Buck Philadelphia Eagles situation back in the 80s. Y'all can look that up to see how gross that story was. But I mean, I didn't know what to do. I don't know, what am I supposed to do? Like, I got all these games going, and I got all this, so you have to get creative. I think I got 2 phones, and I was checking on them from the other. It was crazy. But yeah, it sounds easy. Show up Sunday, 3:00, and kudos to our broadcasters and stats team. They all do that too. Hey, Sunday at 3:00, we'll see you there. Yes. Okay. We'll see you there. And all these people make that game. So you stretch yourself too thin, and you run the risk of not being able to do that all the time. And then the quality of product goes down, and people go,
they don't think it's worth the investment.
It's too crowded. It's too crowded. Yep.
Absolutely.
So we never want people to feel like that.
No, and I think you're on the right path of addressing that issue. Now, something that I've always wondered, since this is a simulation, and I heard you mention the salary cap, and I do know that the extra players will count against the salary cap, voted by the owners 22-2. My question is, why can't we just increase the salary cap if this is simulated monies that we're using to pay everybody? Why couldn't we just add a little bit extra to the cap?
Oh, we will. Oh. You'll see the cap go up. Oh yeah, the cap goes up every year. Yeah, you don't have to worry about that. The cap's not going to be the same. What happens is, actually, that's a really good question, actually, because the difference in our league, unfortunately for us, right, is how you count against the cap equals how good your player is. And that's not always the case in pro football, right? You can get they have rookie deals, right? And you get some quarterback on the cheap. But Trevor Lawrence for the Jaguars is getting paid nothing compared to, or Justin Fields, right? Is getting paid nothing compared to Aaron Rodgers, even though he might be on the same level or a similar level, right, as him. But the salaries are totally different. But what someone gets paid is not, it doesn't make them better or worse. But in our league, that's exactly what it means. And so the salary cap isn't about controlling how much someone costs to have on your team. It's really controlling the potential for everyone to just be 99, right? If everyone is just, and I mean 99 out of 100, like you are maxed out and everything, you got all the animations, you're good to go. Because if we never had a salary cap, eventually everyone would reach it. Everyone would get there. And so if once you have a league full of similar players and everyone's just as good as anybody else, then now you're not special. it doesn't matter. And so the salary cap is there because player talent is tied to what their value is against the cap. That's why we have to keep the cap. We can raise the cap, but we can't just let teams sign whatever and whoever, because eventually everyone would just max out. And so it becomes a balance of, what a player is willing to cut and what a player is not willing to cut in any kind of negotiations. And that's why we allow players the freedom to sign with a new team every offseason. Right. Because if players want to keep the value that they've earned, go do it, right? Go find a better offer. Go find a place where they'll keep that value, keep that progression, and basically explore the marketplace. The teams don't want to cut stuff off of players, right? Teams would love to have all the stuff on the players. It's not like the teams are evil and they're like, you know what, we don't want you to be as good as you could be. Like, no, they wish everybody could be as good as they could be. But teams that are in super high demand, that have winning tradition, that have all this stuff, you're going to have to, they don't have a lot of space. They don't have a lot of room. A team that's rebuilding, the nice thing about joining a rebuilding team is they just don't have a lot against the cap, right? They lost a bunch of players in free agency. Now they can spend whatever they want. That's the point. We want the teams that are rebuilding to be able to pay people max deals so that they can go get more talent and they can compete again. And it works the same in the NFL. When you've got like Chicago with Justin Fields, right? Chicago has a great opportunity now. You've got like a 4-year window where you're basically spending $40 million less than Green Bay on a quarterback. Now you can take that $40 million and you can give it to everyone else, and that makes your team better. Makes sense. Before Justin Fields gets his payday, then he can. In our league, it works the same. If you got a rebuilding team and they got a ton of cap, they are way more likely to be able to give you a max deal than a Florida or a Baltimore, because all their players are staying and all their players are having to tighten up their value to fit under the salary cap, because they all just continue to improve and progress every single week, but then nobody leaves. And so it becomes a different experience on those teams to try to keep the team together. And at the end of the day, that's what the league wants, and that's what the salary cap is for.
Understood. I've always wondered that, and I don't know why I never asked you, or maybe I've asked you. I don't think
I've ever been asked that question.
Awesome. Yeah, so hopefully that shed some light, for everybody else that ever had that question, maybe just didn't think to ask you or whatnot, because it when you explain it like that, it makes a lot more sense than I'm just like, well, hey, why am I only getting like about 1678 and I got all these people, they're going to have to shed their animations and stuff like that. But now I get it. So
it feels like we're saying it feels like we're taking stuff away, but in reality, we're making sure that you can be as special as you want to be, because if everybody was the same, then you wouldn't be special anymore. And that's what the cap does.
Awesome stuff. So tell me, can you go into a little bit more detail now? Everyone, if you like to read what we're talking about and what I'm referencing to, you can definitely visit our website at www.simulationfl.net underneath the League Alerts section. So you have the Dynamic Stats project that will be that will be hopefully implemented for season 18. Would you like to shed a little bit more light on that for us?
Yeah, for sure, Ashley. This is a dream of mine. I'm so excited that we have at least think we figured out a way. We tested it in the playoffs and it went pretty well, right? So now we just want to expand on it. But really, we're so blessed in the league to have 17 seasons worth of history. And with the technology that we have now, which we didn't have 8 years ago, hell, we didn't have it 3 years ago. The technology that's out there now has allowed us to, like, people have told me, Cam, if the SFL doesn't work out, you could just be a contractor like in sports production, because you could give them all these tools and then they would have all these, you know, all this stuff to have a first-rate broadcast. But I don't want to do any of that. That sounds too much work. So going door to door to high school, hey, you want to have a first class whatever, it doesn't matter. But what happens is that all this time we've had statistics from every game, every player, every career, right? Mm-hmm. And so we put all those stats on the website, and where do they go? How do we get them to the people? How do we get them to the viewers, right? And for a long time, it was one graphic at a time. Right. So I would put up a graphic like, Ashley, of your career numbers. And once I use that graphic, it's over. I can't use it again. Because as soon as you complete that next pass, they're inaccurate, right? As soon as you finish that next game, they're inaccurate. So I have to make another graphic of your career stat. I can't just keep doing that. And that's not how the pros do that either. You know, the Foxes and the CBSs of the world, they have stat programs that feed and funnel information into their graphics programs, and then there you go. You just use the one, you know, you pull the information that you want, right? And so what we did was kind of marriage what our stats team and broadcast team had access to, what the general public has access to before the game starts, and we put them together. And so our goal is for me to be able to, with a couple of clicks in, you know, from the production truck that I have in this room, right? With a couple of clicks, I can pull up Ashley Jackson's stats from last week, from today's game, from this season, and from her entire career. And I can pull those up in whatever situation that I want to pull it up. So if you cross 30,000 passing yards, I can pull it up. She just crossed this. She just passed this, right? If I want to show people that you are you have the sixth most touchdowns in SFL history, and I want to show your career stats, I can show that, right? And so I want to do that for every single player in the league. And that may sound like a crazy task, but in fact, the old way of doing it, one graphic at a time, that's the crazy task. With this dynamic stats program, if the team changes, then I just change the team colors, right? And now we've got all of the information again. And so it's really more about, it adds more to the game prep production wise, but it's not adding any work graphically or during the game. It's just about, okay, it's all programmed in. We have all of the data from the website. Our statisticians have it all in front of them. I have it all in front of them as the producer. Now let's tell the story properly about, you know, so anytime a broadcast mentions what a great game they had last week, I can put it up on the screen. And what it does is it makes my dad's work a lot more valuable as director of broadcasting, compiling all that information. It makes Corey Menner's job more valuable, entering in all those box scores on the website. It makes statisticians, the live stats team's job more valuable because their work is actually being like shown on a broadcast. So they're not dependent on a broadcaster referencing a specific statistic, because now I can put it up there. And whether the broadcaster sees it or not, or comments on it, at least the audience can see all of those statistics that the live stats team has been putting in. And it helps make the broadcasters better because they are getting a lot more information put in front of them very quickly, so that it's not all up to them, so that it's not all on them. Because right now we have live stats team doing stats work, and if the broadcaster does not say anything, or they're doing an ad read, or they're doing whatever else they have to do, it doesn't get noticed. And that's a crime, because they do such good work. Stats is so much fun, and you get to look at the behind the scenes of the SFL, and it's such a cool experience. But it always felt like my job here is predicated on if a broadcaster notices my work. And now it's my job here is going to be noticed all game long, and people can just put that stuff up, and it just matters more. And so that's what dynamic stats is meant to do. It's just meant to take all of the rich history that we have and all of the history that we're making and show it to people. Because I think if people really knew and understood the depths, right, of what they're watching, and we could really put a world-class broadcast around it, they would be so much more blown away than they maybe already are. So I would say that is my major undertaking for the off season. It's my sort of critical product or project personally for this off season. And I can't wait to bells and whistles it and figure out, how it's all going to look and what all that looks like. And I think the playoffs overall, it was pretty successful. I was pretty pleased with how it all came together. A couple of bugs, but nothing we couldn't handle. So it was really it was a really good chance to test it out, and I'm looking forward to taking it full launch to everybody in the next season.
Phenomenal. Okay, I love it. Now, the league is growing in its calendar by 2 weeks, so we're adding 2 bye weeks. What was the reason that you decided to add 2 bye weeks into the regular schedule?
Yeah, a lot of, let's see, where do I want to start? I guess we'll start with the broadcast team.
Okay.
Broadcast team does so much. And we have, I think, 35, 36 broadcasters. And you would think, well, we only need 24 every week. So it's a healthy rotation. But people got lives. They got their own stuff to do, just like me. I had to get married, right? I had to go out of state, and I had to have a wedding because that's what I want to do. That's what she deserves, right? That's how life works. You know what I mean? And everybody's got that kind of stuff. Everybody's going through that stuff. So you think 36 is a lot, but sometimes it gets tight, and we have people calling 2 games in a week. We have people on the rare occasion calling 3 games a week, right? And they do it for the love of the league. They, they devote their time, and particularly in the middle of the season, you start to feel that, or I guess the third quarter of the season, as I would call it, actually, you start to feel that burnout a little bit. Everybody starts to feel a little bit of burnout, especially if your season's not going too hot. And it's tough. 12 weeks in a row, every weekend, right? It's tough. I mean, imagine that's 12 weeks. It's one thing for me to do it every weekend, right? But that's 12 weekends in a row where you can't go stray too far from home that day because you got a game later. And that's for a lot of people, that's not realistic, right? So bye weeks will help broadcasters not be so strained. Statisticians not be so strained. It spreads the schedule out a little bit more, but also actually it gives us room to grow when we do expand. Right? When we do expand, now we've got a 14-week window to put all these games in, rather than a 12-week window to put more games in. You see what I mean? So it should help us. Yeah. It should help us when we do grow, sort of plug up those bye weeks a little bit. grow the season just a little bit more, all that good stuff. So that's broadcasting, and it's coaching too.
Right.
I mean, look at Eddie.
Right.
Once you get to 9-10 weeks in a row, you're just like, dang man, I'm so tired.
I need a break.
I'm just watching all this film, doing all this scouting, running all these sims. And we want our product to be the best product it can be. And teams can take that opportunity or coaches, I should say, can take that opportunity to say, you know what, I'm just going to kick back and watch some SFL, watch my opponent next week. I don't have to worry. I don't have to be stressed this weekend. Or I can just not watch any SFL at all, and I can go on, do something with my family, right? Exactly. Go on some vacation, go out to a fancy dinner or whatever. I don't have to, my product should not revolve around your life, nor should any product, right? So I didn't watch a single minute of the NFL all weekend long. I was with family up in the mountains looking at scenic stuff and whatever, and that was super nice. I just can't believe I didn't see a single snap. So I'm unsuccessfully trying to catch up or whatever. And I'm sorry to hear about Justin too, because I've been really liking him playing. Like seeing him playing. So I don't want to see Andy on Thanksgiving. Don't give me Andy on Thanksgiving. Andy Dalton. Come on. I don't want to see that. But oh well. Hey, look, Bears Lions. I'll probably be watching anyway.
Yeah. You have no choice, Cam.
But I mean, coaches, they need a break in there or two. Yeah. Broadcasters need a break in there or two. And look, no player likes when the season is over.
True.
Let's progress on a bye. Enjoy the product. Do with it what you want, but it'll give you a couple more weeks to prepare for a playoff push, and you don't have to sweat out your game, or don't have to worry about when your game is on, or I can only watch one game this week and it has to be our game, right? So then I don't get to watch all the other teams play. Gotcha. Now you do, right?
Yes.
So that the benefits are not as big for the players. I understand that, but it means 2 more weeks of SFL football in a calendar year. And from the standpoint of sitting around in the off season and going, what am I supposed to do now? Right. Now that off season is going to be a little bit shorter.
Okay.
And so, yeah, so that's an important part of it too.
Because I was wondering.
Yeah. No, go ahead, Ashley, please.
No, because I was wondering how would that change the off season? Would you then just be waiting less time? Would that make a little bit more work for you on the back end, or like?
No, it frees me up too, right? So instead of me having 12 weeks in a row of 12 games every weekend, one weekend I might have 8 or 10, or things like for example, in the winter season, we have different challenges than the summer season. In the winter, we have the Super Bowl. What do we do with Super Bowl Sunday? Right? How are we supposed to have all these games going? What if I want to go to some Super Bowl party? What if I want to watch the Super Bowl with my mom or my friends or whatever? Or, what happens if people, it does me, the broadcasters, the statisticians, no good to be broadcasting a game in front of 25 people when we could be broadcasting a game in front of 80 people, right, and spending our time more wisely. So we've got the Super Bowl to deal with. We've got Easter to deal with. This season, I can't stand it, Ashley, but this season, the last day of the regular season is Easter Sunday. I can't do anything about it. It's on the calendar, you know what I mean? But the last day of every season only has 4 games. Where usually we might have 6, right? And
right.
So it falls pretty okay because we can push those games into later in the evening. We can make sure that everybody's able to enjoy their Easter Sunday, or however they celebrate their Easter, and we're able to work around that. We've got the NFL playoffs that take up a whole bunch of the weekend. So there are different challenges.
Right.
In the summer, you've got NFL Week 1. That's my least favorite weekend of the SFL schedule because I kind of want to watch NFL Week 1, and I know that if I want to watch NFL Week 1, I know everybody else does too.
Yes.
And so that creates scheduling challenges. The summer heat is a killer here at the studios with all the equipment on. It's so hot. Having to, 6 games in a day, those Xboxes are on for 10, 11, 12 hours with all the playbook changes and then getting ready for all the games and all that other stuff. And it's sitting in a sweat box. It's miserable. It's miserable to sit in that heat. And what do you say? Oh, just turn on more fans. Oh, you mean more power in the room? Like you want me to plug more stuff in? I'm sure that's going to help everything just fine. So every season has its challenges, but that the bye weeks help with that too, right? Super Bowl weekend, we don't have to have 12 games on the schedule, and so that kind of stuff matters. And then the last reason, Ashley, is what we have coming down the future in this league, which is we've got more players on rosters. That means that more players need more playing time. That means that we're going to, as we go along, need to do more with the substitution settings in the game, with depth charts and all this other stuff to ensure that everybody's getting some playing time, realistically, right? That we're not, it's not like I had a basketball coach in 9th grade where every 5 minutes he would put a new starting 5 in. It didn't matter how you were playing. Everybody gets playing time. It didn't matter who you were playing, how you were playing. You could have hit 5 threes in a row and he'd pull you out. And it was just so ridiculous. We don't want to do that in the SFL. We want this to feel like a real life football game. So that's not what I'm talking about. But everybody's got to get some love. Everybody's got to get their opportunity to shine out there. And the game that wasn't necessarily built to do that for 22 players or 30 players or 30, you know what I mean? And so we've got to do some finagling ourselves. That puts more work on our production, on my production plate here at the studios. And that, and on a regular week, it's not that big of a deal. But when we move teams around rosters to get you different opponents, that's when it really creates a big backlog of logistical challenges, because I'm putting in playbooks from scratch again. I'm having to reconfigure where everyone is playing on the field to make sure that they're all playing in the right spots and in the right places, in the right formations, and that's a big logistical challenge. I need teams off that week.
Yeah.
So I can worry about them next week, because there's just so many games happening, and for all those reasons, buys make sense. And so what we did with the schedule is done. What we did with the schedule is, I believe there's only 2 teams that have 2 games in between their buys. So for example, they might have a bye in week 7 and week 10.
Okay.
I don't want to do that, because after your week 7 bye, you're not really burnt out in week 10. Right? You want to keep playing. But because of the logistics of the schedule, just like any other schedule, right? It can't be perfect. It doesn't all match up the same for everybody. So almost every team has three games or more in between their buys. Most teams have 4, 5, 6, right down, so that their buys are split out. And that was done just purely with schedule availability, roster file availability, all that other stuff. It wasn't. It had nothing to do with what your record was the previous season or any of that stuff. It just had to do with where it fell. Now, what the league did do is I made sure that a certain team was not having to face too many teams off of a bye. Meaning, if Arizona had a bye and then they played, I'm sorry, let's say Arizona played San Diego in week 8, and then they played Florida in week 9. Well, if Florida had a bye in week 8, they didn't have to game plan for anybody in week 8, so they had a little bit extra time to plan for Arizona. We wanted to make sure that there wasn't
any
a lopsided number, yes, of teams that were, man, everybody we play is coming off their bye. This sucks, right? And like they get that unfair schedule. So we made sure that as close as possible, we could make that just that fair, to all those teams. Now, teams should be taking some time off, and it shouldn't be an advantage at all. But just in case teams are feeling just fine and spirited, and they want 2 weeks to prep for their next opponent, then we wanted to make sure that was fair. So all of that goes into buys, methodology behind buys, and the advantages that they can bring to all the different kinds of people in the league.
Phenomenal. Looks like you pretty much thought of everything, and it's good that
we try.
Yeah. Well, you can't think of everything, but you thought of a lot. So kudos to you all for doing that. And even having the thought to give people rest, because you don't want people. Like one of the reasons that Mighty, decided to just be the owner, the way Jeremy Vega just want to sit back because they get burned out, So
burnout is a thing, and it's bad for mental health.
It is.
It's bad for, and when the league looks at things, right, we're a year-round operation, but for many, it doesn't feel like that to them because they have particular parts of the calendar where they are more engaged and involved in the product than maybe other times, right? A minor league player is really engaged right now, maybe not so much 3 months ago, right? So with that understanding, we look at the schedule and we go, okay, why not just make it longer? We're not in a position where we can provide more games. It's not like we're going to a 14-game schedule, but what's the alternative? That player's just going to sit there for 2 weeks in the off season waiting?
Yeah.
There's no difference. We can easily spread this out a little bit so that the wait in the off season is not so long. Automation helps us with that. See, the off seasons used to be so long because we had to build everything by hand.
Yes.
All these players and all the
yes.
your animations and your attributes and your equipment and the uniforms. You'd have to do that one at a time by hand, and it would take weeks. We would take 2 weeks to create. We would send it to the owners. They would look it over for changes. We would have preseason so people could look at their stuff, and then they could report to us errors, and then this, and then that, and then yada, 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 yada. We don't have any of that anymore. And so we want to be able to decrease that downtime, provide more content, provide just as much as we can, and we don't have to cram it into we don't have to. And it's become a little bit of a detriment that's what we've been doing because it's so hard to burn out is a thing. Mental health issues due to burnout is a real thing. We don't want that for anybody, and I think overall it will help our product to just give a little spread out.
I agree. I only have 3 more questions for you.
All right, fire away.
First one, the phase 2 of automation will be underway later on this month. So what does that exactly entail? I don't know if you've actually went over this prior. You may have touched a little bit on with my previous questions, but if there's something that you didn't mention, maybe we can get our viewers to understand a little bit more about phase 2 of the automation.
For sure, and I'm not sure that I may have gone into detail somewhere with some other group, the news track, right? So no problem going through it all. Phase 2 is really about the minor league. Right now, the minor league is still operating old school. Andrew Rastelli is manually checking progressions. He is manually checking subscriptions. He is manually putting those changes into the roster file. He's basically like, I I got the electric car, and he's still back there with the horse and buggy. Like, all right, I'll see you in a few days.
Dang.
So what we need to do now as a league is we need to be able to onboard a player into the system from the beginning of their career, because the default player in the automation portal is a base cutter, of course, right? So when someone joins the league and says, I want to play tight end, we put them in the system, we attach their Discord to the portal, and then they start progressing. And then we put them on the team, and then when they get drafted, we put them on another team. Pretty easy, right? So if we can get people going in the portal from the very moment that they get here, rather than from the moment that they are drafted, we will be able to accelerate our growth even faster. And like I said, Ashley, faster growth, more people here will help result in more teams and more games and more, you know what I mean? It all helps fuel that, because any company is more successful the more customers it has, right? So we will be, more opportunities open up for us because our expenses are not going up just because a whole bunch of players want to play. Whereas before, it was very difficult to keep up with that demand. You know,
Absolutely.
We couldn't offer the supply that the demand was asking for, and that put us in a really tough position to where we had to do something. So the phase 2 is all about that. It's just all about being able to onboard people right away, being able to transfer players from the minor league to the major league, giving the minor leaguers a chance to progress just like the major leaguers do, so that they're not brand new to the portal and wondering what's going on. And you know, the portal is just better to progress in. It tells you all your options. It doesn't let you make mistakes. You know what I mean? It's a lot easier for a new person to understand the league if we say log into this thing, and it'll tell you what your options are. And that's all you need to know. You don't need to read charts. You don't need to look up documents. You don't need to watch tutorials. You don't need any of that. Go to the portal, log in, progress.
Awesome.
Easy.
It has been. It really has been.
Yeah, well, and that's what phase 2 is mainly about. We've got 8, 9, 10 things on the back end on a wish list that we're like, hey, you know, we really want to make some improvements to this. For example, Ashley, we can edit just about anything on our own. We cannot edit their name. If there's a typo in their name, I got to go to the developer and say, hey, can you change this name?
Wow.
It was originally built like that as like a security thing. Right, you don't want names getting changed and they shouldn't be changed, right? But this was coded. The project started in like April. So back then, programmers don't know all of who all handles what, who all edits what parts of roster files and all this stuff. They're just thinking about it from like a name is really important. We don't want anybody to be able to touch this kind of thing. And so we just need that opened up. Just let the admins be able to change the names, because in the case of like a T-Roy Gaines, maybe the hyphen is missing.
Yeah.
Just want to put a hyphen in. But then that takes too long, right? We should be able to just do that in 2 seconds, just like when your running style is wrong, we just go in and just change it, and that's it. It's over. Or you're passing with your left hand instead of your right hand, or vice versa. We can easily just go in and okay, we fixed it. It's done. It's over with. So little things like that we want to just improve on the back end from an administrator side, but it's mainly about getting the minor league to where the major league is.
I like it. And it's funny because you segued into my next question. What improvements, if any, because you want to try to fine tune every season, things like that, were you planning to or that you want to see come to fruition before season 18 started? I do know that you had some things in the back end that you kind of want to implement further down the road, but I don't know if you wanted to share anything besides what we've already discussed in regards to season 18, maybe some improvements that we can kind of see.
Yeah, so one example of this would be like mid-season signings. A little clunky last year.
Yeah.
We weren't necessarily focused on it, weren't necessarily planned for it. Basically on the back end, we built signing periods. We built one for re-signings, we built one for free agency, right? So teams could sign their own players back from this date to this date. And then after that, sign the button wouldn't work, right? So that way, teams are not signing players in week 8, right? We can't have that. We can't have teams just adding people without releasing someone, of course.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't build the mid-signing process, so we basically just kind of had to jerry-rig it in the middle of last season. Like, hey, can you open the signings back up, because we kind of forgot to tell you that that's a thing during the season.
Got
And
it.
it's like, oh, okay, sure, I'll open the signings back up. So creating a window for in-season signings and the stipulations for that, being able to easily release the player. Right now, we can't just release a player into free agency. It needs to be manually pulled out of, off the team. So during the season, actually, once you create a new season, then all the roster's blank, and then you start signing players again. So just like that's a perfect example of something that just wasn't super awesome, right?
The smooth
because
as you want.
we didn't really think about it. There were so many things to think about when building a portal for exactly what we need. And we got to week 3 and someone was like, hey, I want to sign someone. And we're like, oh, we don't know how to do that. So we probably should figure that out. So little things like that, but nothing like, major outside of adding and integrating the program.
Okay. Go beans. Last question for you. So the league confirmed the weekend for 2022's convention. It's July 23rd and 24th in a city to be determined. Do you have any cities that you would like to share that you're considering? And then I'm noticing, because we had a fantastic time this past week. I mean, great time in Texas, great to meet everybody and things like that. Be around people. When you talk to them, like Tyler was saying, when you're in chat, texting, things like that, you don't get the personality. Sometimes things can be interpreted like you were upset or you had a problem with something, and that's not even how you mentioned it. So it was good to be able to have those conversations with people. And I confronted a couple people that, like Gerald was one of them. Like, for some reason, I thought that Gerald just had an issue with me, but I was able to see him face to face, and we actually talked out what I thought was an issue, and it really wasn't, but it is seeing that person and having that understanding and being able to have that conversation. Two adults, why not? Being able to work things out. That was awesome for me. That was one thing that I really enjoyed doing. But I was wondering, why is it only 2 days? And what cities were you thinking about?
Oh, well, I'm glad you said something, because so that 2 days, we have games usually in a 2-day window.
Right.
During a given week. So the week's window is 2 days, but the convention would still be 3.
Okay.
It's the or 4, right? In the case of Houston, right, we had kind of a 3.5 situation.
Yes.
And we would still do that. So it's not just the dates represent just the game. Yeah, exactly. Just the games and stuff. So yes, I can put to bed. It's not a 2-day convention. It would be a regular, long, really nice convention. So that's. I'm glad you said something. I didn't even think about. People would think the convention was 2 days if I only put 2 days on the calendar. So I'm glad you clarified for everyone.
Anytime.
But in terms of city, I really I really feel like we've done 3 conventions now: Dallas, Houston, and Atlanta.
Mhm.
And I feel like I've learned a little bit from all 3. And I think what I've learned is the best hotel situation was definitely this last one. We want to have all of our SFL related events in the hotel, right? That's where we want to be. So that was the first thing. The thing I learned from Atlanta is, and Dallas too. I'd say Dallas specifically. You want to have other entertainment that is within walking distance. So leave the hotel, go do non-SFL related entertainment. You want it close so that you can walk to it. In Dallas, you couldn't. We were in it was like a concrete jungle. We were amongst film studios, so it was just studios, right, for all the way down. You couldn't walk to anything. You had to commute back and forth from SFL event to other things. And in Atlanta, we had the same thing, and in Houston, for the most part, we kind of had the same problem. Non-SFL related events you had to commute to. We need to find entertainment that is within walking distance of that hotel so that people can go do non-SFL related things and they don't have to haul away, right? So, so we want to find a place that has an all-inclusive hotel. I learned from Houston that we got to find another one of those amphitheaters.
Right?
That was the best.
That was dope.
That was it. You were in Atlanta, so you remember what our setup was in Atlanta.
Right.
And it just doesn't feel as big. You're in a room, you're watching on you're watching on a projector, but you're kind of in a room.
Exactly.
It's just not the same. It feels like you're in a classroom more than you are in an entertainment center. And the amphitheater was really fun because there were like levels to what was happening. If you just wanted to chill, right, and to just talk in the back, right, go get some water or food in the back. And if you were really up into the game, you know, you could
sit right up front, right in those.
Well, you could sit right up front, but you could also pace, run, be active without getting in people's way, right? Yeah. Imagine you were in Atlanta. Imagine people running or like standing in the front of the room. You'd be like, no, sit down. I can't see, right?
Right.
But in the amphitheater, we didn't have it. So the amphitheater was really awesome. We want to be able to find, a hotel that has those capabilities too. So, we're racking up the wish list. We want to have entertainment close by, non-SFL related. We want the SFL entertainment all in one inclusive place. We want to have, lost my train of thought. We want to have the amphitheater for games, and it doesn't hurt to have an awesome pool and a swimming bar, right? And all those other cool things that South Shore Harbor had. And those are the types of things that, it's kind of like once you have that stuff, you can't really go back. You kind of have to do that again. So, and if you don't have that, then you got to have a beach, right?
That's true.
If you don't have that at the hotel, then you got to have the beach. So, if you're not going to do beach, you can't really go back. So, with that all being said, that's kind of the wish. That's what we want to find. That's what we want to hone into. Another one, Ashley, which was great for, I know it was great for Dallas. I can't remember how far away we were from the airport in Atlanta, but we were quite a trek from the airports in Houston.
Yes, we were probably about 45 minutes, probably to an hour.
At least, depending upon traffic. Yes, and that was tough. And I knew that was something. We did it on purpose because we wanted to get people a little bit closer to the coast if they wanted to go to the beach, right? If they were there for vacation and they wanted to rope in the beach, then it wouldn't be so far, right? And so that was kind of a family move decision, right? If you're bringing your families, it gets you a little bit closer to things like the NASA Space Center, to Galveston Beach. We tried to. It's a give and take. If you schedule it right by the airport, you're an hour and 45 minutes away from all that stuff. So, that was a tough decision. But ideally, if we can find a place that's much closer to the airport that has all of those things, that's what we're looking for. So, cities, and we haven't really started. I usually don't start doing this until after the crazy part of my off season is over and before the season. So we're talking like December 20th to January 15th is when I usually do convention planning and finalization. And that's what we're going to be looking for. We basically start with an airport. How expensive is that airport? How accessible is that airport, right? And then it's all about Google Maps, baby. What's around, right? What do we see? What are we looking at here? What kind of situation do we have to make this successful? And then it's about calling a hotel and saying, what kind of rate can you give me? Be charging people $150 a night. I can't. If that's the best you can do for me, then you're out. I can't do it, right? It's too expensive. People are already paying enough for a plane ticket, and, food and all that other stuff. So, So I think for me, in about a few weeks' time, Google Maps in it. Go to those airports, see what's up. Go to those, zoom in, on that area. What do we have? What does it have to offer? Pick it from there. And if people are listening to this conversation and they're like, I know the perfect place, just send me a DM because I got enough to do. So if you think that you got some cool place, then let me know because I can make a couple phone calls and we can have our convention. So I don't mind at all if you have suggestions. Don't send me come to Kansas City. Well, why? Why? I don't know why. Like, I know you want me to come there, but what does it have to offer? Like, do your best sales pitch. So if you know of a place, something that might work, please send it to me. Do not bombard me with the city of choice. I know that you all want the convention to be close. I want to be close to all of you, but you are also spread out. If you all just lived in the same town, then I wouldn't have this problem. So it's y'all's fault that you live all over the place. So I try my best, and hopefully, Ashley, with COVID trying to get past COVID, we can break 100, because we should have broken 100 in Houston, but the airlines were just dealing with all their mess.
Crazy.
And we still had some COVID issues, with everyone. And hopefully we can crack 100 because we should have had it. And I'll take it to the grave, man. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get 100 people at this event. It's gonna be awesome. And the airlines really.
Yeah.
That was a rough weekend. That was just unlucky. There's nothing we could do about that. It's just very unlucky.
They decided to strike on the weekend. We decided to do this. What are the odds of that happening?
Yeah. But I mean, that's logistics. That's what makes all this stuff so difficult. And by the way, I'm wearing my Sector 6 jacket tonight. Black Friday sales, holiday sales going on with Sector 6. Make sure to check that out. Support your team. Support the league if you want a jacket like this, right? But most importantly, sign with someone in free agency. Keep being here. I want to keep seeing you on the field. But if you got Christmas coming up or whatever, I mean, this is my favorite jacket of all time. And I'm not just saying that because it's SFL gear. It's super comfortable. So, anyway, I don't like it.
It looks good.
Do you like pullovers or zip downs, Ash? I got to have a full zip down jacket. I hate the pullover feeling where all your clothes get stuck when you're trying to take it off.
To not mess up my afro, I guess I need that.
Yeah. Yeah, you need the zip down.
That's right.
Yeah, you're not going to be pulling much over that afro.
You know how long it's been since I wore a hat, brother? It took a long time.
Now I thought get rid of the fro at one point?
I braided it.
Okay, so you braided it,
Yeah.
but you didn't cut. See, I thought there for a minute that you would cut it, and I was like, oh, I guess that's the end of that. But no. Okay, all right.
No, now it depends.
That's good.
If I push this all the way up, then it makes like a smaller bun. If I
don't know anything about hair. I don't know about you can tell. But I don't know.
You know, we'll get together. But Cam, this was really good stuff, you know, and I try to ask the questions that people may not think to ask or to get clarification when you have like a little bit of pushback. Maybe some people just didn't understand certain things. And I think it's good for you that you went into detail, even with the convention, on how you come to choose these places. Because if you're saying, hey, come out to, I don't know, Kentucky. Okay, cool. So what we gonna do in there? We're gonna sit here and just look at each other the whole time, or we're gonna go out here and do other things. So I think with that understanding, people would be more understanding as to why you make some of the decisions that you make, because it's not just for some, it's for all, you know? So, hey.
And on that note, Ashley, we didn't do it this year. Didn't do it last year. We know why we didn't do it last year, because COVID. But we didn't do it this year just because there were other priorities. But next year, we want to start this live draft stuff again from television studios. So I've been talking with Next Level Sports, right? I've been talking because Next Level Sports hasn't hosted one. You know, there's some other local TV that has reached out and shown interest in doing some stuff. They got a studio, right? We can do it there. I want to, you know, even a place like Little Rock. It's just down the ways from me. Call up the local. They're not using their studios 24/7. We can use it too. That kind of thing. So I want the live draft to become the winter convention of sorts, right? For people who may not have had the summer convention in their area, who are rookies looking to get drafted, and get drafted live, you know, on television, that kind of stuff. Be able to get interviewed right there on the spot on TV. You know, to shake my hand and to be in a television studio, to see it all come together. I want live audiences. I want, you know, green rooms of owners being on the phone and all that other, right? I want all that stuff.
Live booze. Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, that's right. You know what? Okay. I got a poem. Where's that poem? Poem here. Okay. Roses are red, violets are blue. Bears suck. Oh, sorry. I've lost the rest of the poem. That can't be the end of the poem.
I can't stare at you sometimes.
I don't know. There's got to be another line in there. It can't just end like that. Oh well.
The Bears big suck, but we're better than you. There you go.
You'll be saying that to the Lions fans. Because everybody's been saying that to the Lions. Poor guys.
You know, it was crazy because I was like, oh yes, he's finally gonna give me something other than a shout out. You know, he put some time, he put some effort into this thought.
No, never. But I've been very complimentary to you about the Bears all this podcast.
You have. I knew it was going to happen. I knew he was going to get a shot in before we ended. But Cam, it's always a pleasure having you on, catching up with you, and things like that. And you know, you just do a lot of work for your baby, for what you created, you know, and I think it's important for people to have understanding, especially when there's any questions or things like that they can just come to you. They can DM you. They can participating with the community calls that you do, things like that. If they ever have any questions, you're more than willing to answer, just like you answered all of mine, So just cool.
And I haven't been around. I had one late night jam session. Shout out to Ryan Michaels and Johnny Bravo, who were there jamming rock music with me at 2 a.m. that one night. But I haven't been around front, in the community in chat very much lately. Forgive me.
I mean, you got married, man. You got stuff you had to do.
Moving. Yeah, it was good. We're gonna spend. How are you gonna spend Thanksgiving, Ashley?
I'm gonna cook.
What's going on?
I'm gonna be at home. First off, I got Thursday and Friday off, so I plan on cooking some good food. We're gonna have some turkey, some greens, some homemade mac and cheese, some dressing, like a little tomato and onion salad I'm gonna do. And I haven't decided on dessert yet. It's either going to be thought about bread pudding with a warm rum sauce to go on top, or either key lime pie. Just depends on which, or either apple pie, something like that. But yeah, I'm gonna stay home and chill with the family, man, and just kind of relax.
That's good. That's good.
What you got going on?
Alexa, we are gonna write thank you notes to all of the people who sent us cards and gifts for the wedding, and we feel like that's very appropriate. We usually split off for Thanksgiving. I go to my mom's side. She goes to her mom's place. She loves their cooking, and I just love my family. Thanksgiving is not really my holiday. I'm more of a Christmas guy myself. But yeah, we usually split, but we're gonna stay here at home, just the two of us, and already done a little shopping to just kind of make a little Thanksgiving dinner at home, watch some football. Arkansas plays Missouri too, so we'll get a little college in there, and just try to be thankful for what we have and
each other.
I knew it was gonna, and each other. I knew it was gonna happen, Ashley. I told all the teams. I said, "Hey, get married. This is a long time coming. Big title. I'm not gone for very many long stretches ever. I'm leaving. Nothing's happening. Go be with your family. Go be with your children. Go be with your wives and husbands. Go be, go do something relaxing. Go do something fun. Don't worry about the salary cap. Don't worry about season 18. Don't worry. We'll do it all when we get back. Don't worry."
Exactly.
They just bother me. When are we gonna do this? When are we gonna get this done? When does signing start? When can I sign? When can I do this? And I go, y'all drive me crazy, but I'm happy to have y'all. I'm blessed to have you guys. Y'all love this just as much as I do, but woo-wee, just go sometimes. Just take a break. It's good for mental health.
It's true. And I think people don't realize how much you actually do. And when they find out,
they do. How much all the owners did they do? They do lots too. You know what I mean? Y'all do a lot for your team. Y'all watch a lot of Sims. Y'all watch a lot of All-Pro football. Probably way more than I do. Shut the Xbox off. Go do something else. Right?
Right. Exactly.
You're silencing your child.
I am. I was.
Because I can also read facial expressions. So you were like, simmer down.
You calm down, please.
Inside voice. Inside voice.
I'm mad. You actually know. I can't speak nothing bad to you.
But you know what, Ashley? No, it's the beauty of the show, because you got a life too. Everybody's got a life, right? Everybody's got other stuff going on, and we all need to remember that we are all people with our own challenges and our own stuff outside the SFL. We need to treat people with kindness and respect and understand that they're in the rat race that we're all in, and we just gotta take it one day at a time. It's just good perspective. I've always had this perspective, but having some time away and clearing the head, and get where I'm at, Ashley, with it all is like, this is a great thing that we have. Like we don't have to constantly do it all the time for it to be great. And I think it's going to result in an even better product on the other side.
I agree.
Of it all. And the minor league, which we haven't even talked about, has had some awesome games this year.
Yes,
this has been so fun to watch. I'm really like, I'm like in the zone this season. I'm like, I don't know. It feels different this season. Maybe it's this class, Ashley. You talk to many people in this class. This is an exciting draft class we got coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. They're coming in with that, what can I do for you kind of attitude. I think probably more so than any other class that I think it's just a sheer excitement. I was telling Nathaniel Diggs and DJ Bandit when they were on my show, it's amazing that you guys get this time to really showcase your player build and how you are progressing. We only had one game. I was in the rookie showcase as a wide receiver, got my touchdown.
God,
that was it, and right. And but then they're so lucky to be able to progress and get their players better, where we had to chat in the Discord and get all of that stuff. They get to actually play.
It's the only way we had to measure people.
Exactly. So I've often told them that they are just so lucky to be able to have an opportunity like this, to be able to showcase their talents. And then we, in turn, as GMs and owners and things like that, we have the video footage of you playing. We know what you're doing. We can see your stats. We can see how you grow from week to week to week. We can see whether you progressed or not. All of that good stuff. And this class has been, all classes are good, but this one it does feel different. Can't necessarily put my finger on it, except the excitement that I feel from everyone that wants to be involved. But yeah, and then they're just taking things by the reins and just going and doing it, And so that's always, even like Axel Raven over here, welcoming all of the rookies and showing them how to do certain things. Hey, if you want to progress, I think that is absolutely awesome.
Putting together an exhibition prospect bowl. Exactly. And running a simulation and saying, hey, let's see you on the field one more time. See how you all stack up to, just that type of stuff is super uplifting to a community. And for minor leaguers who don't realize out there are so many people who have been here for so many years that love watching you play every week. People may not talk about it very much, but I, like many others, love watching you play. It's a new person. It's a new story.
Yes.
It's exciting. It's such a rush. It really is. And I can't wait to see. Who could have predicted Randy Squarebush? The season he's having is
417 yards.
It's crazy. And this is people that see that. There was somebody in the chat, drive me nuts. I can't even remember their username. I don't know if they're in the league or not, but if it's you probably know who I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. But they were just going off about how it's just BS. His performance, it's crazy. Every time he gets the ball, he's gone, right? They can't tackle him. No one can tackle him, whatever. Here's the fun fact about the game. You ready? We'll blow everybody away. Brad Jones had one more broken tackle in that game than Randy Squarebush did. Brad Jones broke more tackles in that game. Randy Squarebush had the 417 yards, because when you watch the film, the blocking was so good. And the coaching was so good. And Squarebush is good too. But sometimes we get hung up on the numbers. My guy is this good so he should be this good all the time. That's not how football works.
No.
I know because I have Stephon Diggs on my fantasy team. And for weeks, he was not as good as he was supposed to be. And it's like, that's how it is. Sometimes great players have great performances. And he had a great performance. You know, that's how I look at it, right? Celebrate the guy. I mean, he did something that no one else has been able to do. And a lot of people, to their credit, in the heat of the moment of the game, a lot of people acknowledged, Randy's been here for a long time. He deserves a game like this. He's been putting in his work. He has been progressing every week. He has been putting in the time and the effort to be this good. Let him have it. This is his moment. You know, he's been building towards a moment like this. Let him have his moment, just like anybody else would have their moment. It doesn't have to be BS. It doesn't have to be that it's broken or busted or anything like that. Guy's good. He's a good player, having a truly exceptional performance, and it's just awesome. You know, you just like mesmerized. I think I said to the other game, I think it was Nate Hall. He's like, "Did you see that challenge?" And I said, "Oh yeah, that illegal forward pass they overturned." He was like, "Yeah, did you hear my explanation on it?" And I said, "Nate, I think I was watching Randy score another touchdown. I was kind of enthralled with what was going on over there. Sorry, I missed it." You know, it was just like one score after the next.
Yeah.
Really fun. So for those of you out there that, I mean, you know, there's so many people that just love seeing your improvement as a player and watching you play, and there's a lot of people out there thinking, this guy's gonna be on my team one day.
Yeah, and the thing is,
one day, yeah.
You know, it doesn't. I'm gonna let you go, I promise. But you know,
no. This is my fault. I just wanted to give them a shout out. That's all.
You should. You absolutely should. And what I also wanted, and I keep telling everybody that will listen, you know, not everybody's gonna get picked up in the draft, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you look at Randy Squarebush, you see how great he is now. You know how improved he is and things like that. Yeah. So he wasn't picked up, okay, but now you can't ignore him. You know, yes. So
that's right.
It's like, okay, you don't get picked up. That's cool. Go back to the minors, have fun, and watch the majors. Get involved. See, you can do stats. You can do things in the majors that will still tide you over until your SFLm games start back up. And then who knows? People will remember. Oh, you know, we didn't pick them up, but I saw how active they were during the majors, and they weren't even involved in it. You know. And then when they look at you and your 8 games that you're displaying, you know, I can't pass this person up because they did go back to the minors. They did progress like they were supposed to. So now they were better than what they started. And I have proof of you on stats or doing broadcasts or doing graphics for a team, things like that, helping you out. So it's other things to do.
Even just going on podcasts and doing interviews and telling people who you are.
Yeah,
is a great way to spend your time. At the end of the day, there's 52 weeks in a year. We operate 50 weeks a year. We take 1 week off for Christmas and we take 1 week off for summer vacation every off season, right? That's our calendar. We're a 50-week year-round operation. And our goal is to put you on the field as much as we can manage, right? And that's what our goal is. And so it doesn't really matter what field you're on if you're out there. You know, if you're a part of the league, you're out there, and one of these days you may get lucky enough to be an SFL champion, which so many people, when you think about the long list, Ashley, of people in this league that have never won a title, it's like, for real?
Right.
Like, you've never gotten to feel that? Like, there's so many people that are going to win one that haven't won one yet, and it's just exciting. You could be one of those people. It's just really, really exciting. So I can't wait for this week's games.
Absolutely. It's good. It's going to be nice. And it's like I said, it's always good to see, the newbies out there doing their thing and getting so excited about it. It's good stuff. Kind of makes you reminisce about your time when you first started and things like that. But Cam, thank you again for being on. I really appreciate you. Did you have any shout outs or last words? You already expended the poem thing. We're not even going there. But if you want to sing or if you want to give a shout out, the floor is yours. Ooh, that's a tall order right there.
Oh, I know. That's why I did it, because people will say, "Oh, Cam, don't ever do that again. You're so terrible." Anyway, well, I tried to sing SFL Nights, and then I got ridiculed for it. I can't. I'm not going to be able to sing it. People just no, not you. Everybody else.
My theme song. I'm the only one that can tell you to sing it or not to. So don't listen to them.
Anyway, I already gave a shout out to the miners, so good on them. But oh gosh, it's really not that late. Ashley's got me until 2 a.m. doing these podcast interviews.
No, you just old.
I am. I said to my cousin when they were up here for family, he's 16 or 17, I think 16, but I told him he was basically 10, and he said, "Well, you're basically 40 then." And I was like, "Oh, okay, whatever."
Touche.
But I don't gotta take this. I don't gotta take this. I can get my own car and go home. Where's your license? Oh, no. But yes, I am old, but you all make it worthwhile to come to work. So I'm super excited for the minors. Can't wait to get the schedule out. Can't wait to draft these players. Get a cap going, see where everybody lands in free agency. It's going to be interesting. All that good stuff. All that stuff we're used to. And Thanksgiving and Christmas and all that stuff. The winter off season is wild. There's so much stuff going on.
Absolutely. Well, Cam, again, thank you. Special thanks goes out to both Cameron Irvine and Demond Simien for being on this week's show. I really do appreciate both of y'all.
Demond was here?
Yeah. Oh,
Hey, what's up, man? What's going on?
He left the studio as soon as you came in. I guess y'all just missed each other.
Yeah. I bet we missed each other, Demond, huh? I bet we did. Probably wrote this show down in the wrong month. Demond don't know what that means.
Well, he gonna have some explaining to do. But look,
yeah.
Shout out to both of y'all for being on. Of course, you have a spot on my show whenever you want to come on. I can't wait to see Alexis. Maybe next time you have her on, y'all can be up here together.
She's not as big of a diva as I am, so.
Well, you are the big diva over there. You are. But again, shout out to you all for being on. And thank you for tuning in, for watching, for clicking the play button or, tuning in on the radio. I really appreciate all of my listeners, all of the people that decide to spend some time with me and the community. I really appreciate that. Okay. So stay safe, treat each other well. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Cameron, Demond, and Striker.